Welcome back, guys. Oh, my monitor's in the way for some reason. Let me just... Yes. All right. Welcome back, guys, to IEM New York City. You're watching amazing tournament. We're down to the final series. This might be the final game. It's Revival versus Huck. A best of 3. Huck is down 0-1. And he has some work to do. Can he get it done against Revival?
His teammate, if there's anybody who could get it done, I guess it would be his teammate. But at the same time, if there's anybody that would shut him down, it's also his teammate.
I'm wondering what went into that decision to go for the cannons. Was that something where he was just a little bit flustered from the series before, or I guess that would be the only reason.
That's a good question, but
like it seems like it could be good, but Revival.
But he didn't play a Zerg, and he played PvP, and this was PvZ. So like, I guess it was the kind of situation where it's like
it's a mindset thing. No?
He's my teammate. I know he likes to hatch first, so I guess I'll try to like counter him, but it just wasn't working out. Let's talk about this blue Zerg player in the top left location. He is up 1-0 in this series, as our scoreboard now indicates. It is Evil Genius's Revival.
And his opponent in the top right-hand location of Whirlwind. He's one loss away from being eliminated from IEM New York City and proceeding no further in the tournament. Can he win 2 in a row here to stay alive? From Team Evil Geniuses, he is Huck. Chris Lorne.
Man, I remember the days when Huck used to like, you follow his probe and he used to like draw pictures on the map with his probe.
Oh, I wonder if he'll do that this game. Do you think he might?
How many people in the chat remember when he mothership rushed select on, no, not Star Station.
Scrap Station.
Scrap Station, there you go.
I remember that game.
He mothership rushed. And then he like missed his vortex and he lost.
Right.
I remember that game.
We actually had that, we had like a best of moments in MLG history, and that was in there. It was
the first person, who's the first person he was like famous for mothership rushing? Well, not one, I guess. Well, here's a better trivia.
Okay.
Who did he mothership rush on Steps of War?
Oh, okay. Idra?
No. It was a Terran.
Select?
Nope.
QXE?
Nope.
Terrans back then. Okay, I might be stumped here. I think
I'm pretty sure it was Druby.
Oh yeah,
Druby.
That would make sense. Druby, how did I forget Druby? Poor Druby. I'm sorry, Druby.
That was the first time I saw Mothership Rush, and I thought it was awesome.
If you're watching, Druby, I love you. Okay, we have a Forge finishing again, but this is he's not gonna do shenanigans this game.
No.
No shenanigans this game.
The Shenana probe is not close enough for shenanigans.
Oh man.
I'm just gonna make a new ID, call myself Shenana.
That's good.
Everything I do, be a Shenana mortal push.
Shenana push. Shenana mortal push. Yep. That's it. See, now
That's
someone's
terrible.
going to steal your
sorry.
idea. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's
I hope someone steals it so I can laugh at them. Be like, haha, I tricked you.
That's awesome. Someone might just change their name. I'm sure 10 people have already changed their name in the chat to reflect some sort of shenaniganry. But the question is, what are these guys going to do in this game? We got 3 hatches from Revival. Got a pool, very standard stuff. This time, Huck, he's kind of stepping back a little bit. Playing a little bit more safe, going for a very fast expansion, getting a cannon out. Cyber core on the way. Nothing too strange going on, nothing too unusual.
I like the in-base forge. With this, as you can see, Huck going for that early upgrade. Assuming he's able to get a ranged unit out in time, having the forge in the main base will kind of let him hide what his intentions are.
Right.
So this really, really early upgrade is a potential indicator of a gateway attack. But, if the Zerg player can't see that, and, the forge isn't really in their
visible
vision,
or easy to see,
they're not immediately aware of that possibility.
Sure.
But this Overlord, he's chilling. He's like, I'm just going to sit here in this gap.
Biding his time. Doesn't want to go in just yet. Of course, typically you want to go in when the Protoss is likely to put down gateways, so you can spot any extra gateways. So
usually
I'd
around
say,
the 6 to 7 minute mark.
In the next 30, 45 seconds, you should be going forward. And then you can spot that forge and see how far, or you can see if it's being chrono boosted, or you can see if it's researching anything, and you can kind of have an idea of what's going on. But again, the idea is you want to kind of scout when Warp Gate is about 30% of the way done.
Yep. So if you're a tip for
Yes.
any
tips.
up-and-coming players,
Tips are great.
if you're a Protoss player and you're going for an early timing push, you generally want all your gateways down before 7 minutes.
Yep.
Because you want to be warping in and attacking at 8 minutes. And gateways take about a minute to build. So if everything's down before 7 minutes, you can be ready by 8 minutes. So if you're a Zerg player, you know, you want to look around the 6:30 mark because that's when their structures will be in place.
Yep.
For that timing. But Revival is not sacrificing an Overlord. He feels confident. He knows what his teammate is up to. But as we can see, Hawk chrono boosting that warp gate research, and Revival sees that he's chrono boosting warp gate research, but he does not see.
He's looking for pylons. Oh, a pylon goes down here at the middle left-hand side of the map, and the Zergling sees it.
7 roaches, 11 roaches on the way. I think that's more than enough to shut down this 4 gateway
immediate
aggression.
cancel, and is Huck expanding here? Because I don't see
No,
another.
he's trying to put down another pylon.
I don't see why you would.
But wow, the Zergling missed.
Okay, he's
the
still
probe.
going to try to make it work. Interesting. Okay. Mothership Core is going to try to buffer this, but there's already 11. Like, Revival is making so many things roaches, and yes, there is an expansion going down from Huck. So Huck just basically forced Revival to make a bunch of units.
He sees the roaches.
So he just has to protect his third, and he's going to be in a happy situation.
Do you think he can protect his
I'm not
third? I mean,
sure.
there's
It's gonna be
so
tough.
many roaches, and they're already knocking on his front door.
They're
Huck doesn't
already-
have any units. He's
They're
got
already
4
at the third
sentries.
base, yeah.
He's got to cancel this Nexus.
He has 900 minerals.
Revival's ignoring the Nexus. He's going for the kill.
Whoa. Okay, Robo on the way. Twilight Council on the way. Huck is desperately chrono boosting
He's just
his
sending a
warp
few
gates.
lings.
Okay, a
Not
bunch
even.
of Stalkers being warped in back home. The third base has been seen, and it will be canceled.
Force fields. Very nice force fields from Huck. That's always impressive how perfectly spaced apart his force fields are.
He's going to have to cancel that Nexus.
Yeah.
He has a probe hiding up there. Trying to be very still.
See, this is kind of the drawback of gateway aggression like this, is that if the Zerg player prepares and then makes like all these units, on one hand you're thinking, wow, the Zerg just made a bunch of units, he must be behind in economy. First of all, no, that's not always necessarily the case. Second of all, now you have to produce an army larger than the Zerg's army just to move out of your natural. So this gives the Zerg so much map control and allows him to tech and drone as freely as he pleases up until you produce an army that's bigger than his.
So Revival obviously made a lot of Zerglings and Roaches, which Huck would be okay with if he had been able to preserve that third base. Because after, sure, it's fine, Revival made all those things and Roaches, he wasn't making drones, but then after he made all those units, he has an army composition where he's comfortable enough to, from that point, start droning up like a madman.
Exactly.
So in the grand scheme of things, it's all good for him. He has a lot of units out for map control, deny a third base, and he can drone really heavily behind it. Nice trap there from Huck. Getting a lot of free Zerglings there. Well, spent some energy on that, but that's just fine. Sentries are meant to spend that energy.
Changeling getting into the main base of Huck. Let's see exactly what he saw. He did see the Twilight Council, he did see the Forge, and he got all 4 of those gateways. So Revival knows exactly what's going on in the base of Huck. Mothership Core kind of drifting around, trying to keep tabs on the army of Revival, but these 3 Hydralisks might just be enough to force a recall. Time Warp going down. Huck tries to recall, but it is not quick enough. We do have this Phoenix scouting around.
Yep.
Sees the lair. Doesn't really see much else. He sees the Hydralisk den as well. But he already knows Hydra's on the map, so I don't believe that was too useful.
He has taken a third base, so from here he's getting a lot of Immortals on the field, but his opponent has those Hydras. That makes me think, okay, when is he going to make that leap into Colossi? Because if you don't have Colossi out or any sort of AoE to deal with the Hydras, it can be very tough. I mean, sentries can be great, but then eventually you might run out of force fields. And a Zerg player, there's a place they can kind of engage you right in between the natural and third where they can kind of make you make a decision. You're going to have to defend 2 locations from a massive Zerg army. Let's see if Revival tries to exploit that space between the natural and third.
Spire on the way for Revival as well, so we could be seeing some form of potential Mutalisk switch, but it's also very likely he could be going for very old-fashioned Corruptor, Roach Hydra style. We'll just have to wait and see. No Infestation Pit yet, no. So going to be sticking strictly on Lair Tech for Revival, which could be good as it'll allow him to pump out more units, but at the same time, once Huck starts gaining that momentum, we're going to have to see Revival start to tech up more. Time Warp going down, Guardian Shields going up
Huck
as well.
has a lot of force fields right now.
Oh man,
Look at all those sentries, and look at all the energy. So Huck has to be very good at this force field. Decent so far. Trying to keep those Hydras away. Of course, Immortals are going to be pretty big damage dealers. Again, it's so important for Huck to keep all these units alive. Just force field a little bit at a time. Protect your third base. Doing a good job so far. That was a nice little engagement for Huck, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Very nice usage of force fields. However, he did spend a lot of energy.
Yep.
And Revival's max, so he's still got quite a bit of units. Huck, 50 supply behind. More Immortals on the way, +3 attack on the way, Blink on the way. I'd really like to see him throw down a Templar Archive. He has just enough gas to do it. Zergling run by into third base. Huck caught slightly out of position. This could cost him a Nexus if he doesn't play it perfectly.
Has a lot of force fields, good force fields so far, trying to keep those Hydras away. Huck dealing a lot of damage to the army of Revival. I feel like he has the better position here. Revival trying to force himself up that ramp, but Huck being pretty good, darn good at those force fields, has those Guardian Shields. The Nexus is going to stay alive, and overall, Huck, I think he's going to be happy with this trade, but 23 Hydras in production, and Revival still has a ridiculous drone count, because during all of this, Huck only has 53 probes, which is like a little bit strange to me. There's only 9 probes mining minerals at that third base, so not sure what the deal with that is, but that was a good engagement there for Huck. I mean, he still has a lot of Immortals alive, and he's going to go along this hallway that's really close to his opponent's natural expansion. Okay, it looks like he's going to back up for now, trying to make a decision. He's a little bit indecisive. Yeah,
I think he was expecting maybe to see a 4th base up here.
Oh, sure.
Especially with how quickly the forces of Revival have rallied. But 4th base is actually down in this direction, and there's actually a 5th base here as well. So Huck, he does have this proxy pylon in position. I'd really like to see him warp in some Zealots, maybe even throw down a Dark Shrine so he can get some harassment done on the economy of Revival. The way Revival's economy is going now, he's got the Infestation Pit. Hiva is on the way. If Revival keeps throwing himself at Huck and Huck doesn't tech up any further, Huck's going to find himself in a position where he cannot just keep up with the reproduction of Revival.
Okay, Revival looking to go for another push, swinging his Hydras across that area between the natural and the third. Huck trying to get in position to receive this adequately, optimally, and efficiently. Force fields going down, trying to keep those Roaches and Hydras away. It's split up, so he only has to worry about a few at a time. And honestly, another decent trade here from Huck. He just cleans up the forces of Revival there, but did lose a lot of sentries there, did lose a lot of energy. I'm wondering what the next step is for Revival, because that's a few trades that he's not going to be too happy with. Meanwhile, we also have a Zealot. Yeah, Zealot counterattack left-hand side of the map. But resources lost is 16,425 to 8,975. So Huck is amazing in the resources lost. He's being very cost efficient in this game so far, keeping a bunch of Immortals alive, and Revival just sticking with the same composition. Lings, Hydras, and Roaches. We just saw 22 Hydras in that production tab.
Yeah, and this is actually pretty dangerous for Revival. If he keeps spending so much gas on Hydralisk, he's not really going to be able to keep up with the heavily upgraded Mortal-heavy force of Huck. But at the same time, if Revival can manage to mix in just a few Vipers, it can really shift the momentum in his favor.
Yep.
He'll be able to throw down those blinding clouds and the choke points. He'll be able to abduct those crucial Immortal units, and you know, it can really 180 completely.
Yep. Okay, we'll see. Look at this. Huck is coming out here. Remember, he can blink out of these. He's going to try to blink out force fields. He has plenty of them. Going to deploy those. A nice Guardian Shield as well. Will another fight go in favor of Huck? Those Immortals are so important in this composition. The sentries as well. And Revival going to have to back away again. So Huck, once again, dissecting his opponent's unit composition, getting a favorable trade, but now he's going on to creep. Has to be careful not to overextend. Doesn't have that many force fields. Only 6 sentries on the map. And a lot of them are pretty low in energy, so Huck still needs to be very careful. Still not making any progression. I mean, he's still staying on Immortals. He's got 2 waiting at his third base, not progressing into Robotics Bay. Honestly, no High Templar Archives either, just sticking with exclusively Blink Stalkers, Sentries, and Immortals.
Yep, even more Sentries and Zealots being warped in. Templar Archive finally going down for Huck, as is the +1 armor upgrade. We do have Adrenal Glands going down for our Zerg player, and I love that upgrade. I feel like it's something we don't really get to see too much of. I remember back when Infestors were really popular, we used to see a lot of 3/3 Zerglings and Infestors, and you know, once those Fungals locked you down, you were in trouble. But 6 Infestors on the way, a few Spine Crawlers going down as well. Still a very Roach Hydra heavy composition. Storm on the way for Huck. And once Storm completes, if he can get, you know, 5, 6 Templar, all these Hydralisks are just going to melt. And the Lings are going to melt as well. So I'd really like to see Revival transition into Swarm Hosts. I feel like Swarm Hosts would be very powerful against Stalker, Immortal, Sentry.
He's making a lot of Infestors right now.
Even Broodlords. I mean, he has a Spire too, so.
I think Vipers would be pretty cool too.
Yeah, Vipers.
Talked about that a little bit earlier.
But he has a Templar now, so Vipers.
Yeah,
Vipers
that would be a little bit challenging.
questionable. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Greater Spire. It's now been started, so it looks like Revival intending to go into Broodlords eventually. Going to try to make this army work. Storm is about 70% of the way done for Huck. Revival approaching his opponent's third base, charging up there, some cannons dishing out some damage. Stalkers coming up as well. Look out for a bungle on the Stalkers, grabbing 4 of them. Not too many. Huck is going to try to protect this base, protect its economy. Guardian Shield's going down.
Storm's almost done.
Storm is so close to finishing the High Templar, getting a little bit over-eager. Some fungals going down onto this army. Feedback going down onto those Infestors, but here come the Storms from Huck, and he's just dismantling this army once again, just cleaning it up, not losing too much. And Revival throws away another army. And now it's 26,875 to 16,625 in the resources lost. But we're about to see Broodlords on the way.
Huck is going. He's not waiting.
This is a great push, honestly.
And you know what? There's 6 Spine Crawlers here, but there's so many Immortals. He could just blow right past them.
Huck needs to go. I don't know if he knows about this. Okay, there's a counterattack happening in third base. I think he's worrying about that. No, there's Infested Terrans, I should say.
Oh man, I'm so disappointed.
Yeah,
I
if
mean,
he had
so
pushed,
many
like,
Immortals.
That was his timing. But now that 9 Broodlords are out.
Oh, look at these Infestors. They just walk past Templar.
Yep.
But there's not enough energy really to get much damage done.
So has Huck identified this at all, this Broodlord play?
I don't think so. He hasn't really scouted in quite a while. Last time he scouted, all I saw was the lair and the Hydralisk Den. But we do have the Zealot attack at the 5th base of Revival. There are 2 Spine Crawlers, but it's not. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to protect all these drones, these Infestors, waiting for the army of Huck to push out so that these Infested Terrans can really rip apart those probes.
Yep, biding his time, very patient is Revival. And Huck going across the map with an army that is not too good against Broodlords.
There are a lot of Immortals in here, and yeah, there's not even 10 Stalkers. There's only about 6.
And he does have Militia Support here, so he can't necessarily recall. So he's going to take a lot of damage. Look out for fungals.
Here we go, and there go the
fungals can be
Infested
devastating
Terran.
here. Okay, Huck going towards the third base. Meanwhile, the Infested Terrans, or Infested Marines, I should say, blanking in that third base. Huck trying to deal with these Broodlords, realizing what's going on. The fungal goes down, and the Broodlings starting to pick at these Protoss units. So Huck going to have to back away. Meanwhile, his economy, or I guess his third base, was cleaned up. He's got that 4th base down, but now he has to find out a different tactic because he can't engage those Broodlords. He has nothing to really deal with those.
Yeah, and this is the point where you have to ask yourself, did Huck make too many Immortals? Yes, they're very powerful, but they're virtually useless against Broodlords. And these Immortals, a lot of them getting caught out by the faster movement speed of the Roaches and the Hydralisks.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like that idea from Huck.
Huck trying to counterattack. Oh, he's getting onto the Broodlords.
Okay, throwing down some High Templar. The Stalkers blinking forward, trying to target those guys down. Infested Terrans being thrown out here from Revival.
But the Broodlings, the Infested Terran, the Roaches, and the Hydras, it's all too much. Huck would have to throw away his entire army to even have...
This game is really weird, Smurf. I'll be honest with you.
It reminds me of Wings of Liberty.
Yes.
This is not a very Heart of the Swarmy game.
This is very true. The truer words have
Roach
never
Hydra
been
into
spoken.
Broodlords, I mean...
Yep. So, what does Huck need to do here to engage this army?
He needs a lot of Templar and a lot of Stalkers.
Okay. He's working on that. Oh.
But you know, I don't know if he has the economy to produce the army that he needs to produce. Revival's economy is still going strong. I mean, this hatchery was saved. It's resaturated with drones. Huck trying to split off and get some counterattacking done, sending some Zealots off to all sorts of different bases. But here comes the flank from Revival. Storm's going down on the Roaches. Feedback going down on the Infestors.
A lot of Stalkers now. Okay, so Huck is biding his time. He doesn't want to engage this army just yet, trying to pick and prod at it, trying to get it as low as possible before deciding to engage. Backing up with all of his units, trying to take some units off guard, storming in his retreat path, a great move indeed, and also isolating these extra bases from his opponent, trying to take those out so his opponent can't rebuild as easily, and he's pulling his opponent's unit competition away from his side of the map so he can get his economy going and make sure that stays nice and fresh. And Revival wants an engagement, but he's having trouble actually making the engagement happen.
Yeah, Revival actually, I'm not sure if it's a mistake, but it's definitely a difficult decision on his part, which has led to a series of unfortunate events. He's chasing around the faster army of Huck, and he's losing all these bases while also being unable to put on a lot of aggression of his own. But we do see these 3 roaches going to get in here and burrow, able to pick off a handful of roaches. Very nice move by Revival. What I really wish we'd see Huck do is throw down like a Stargate and try to get out some Void Rays.
Sure, but I think he might have the economy to do something like that. Do you think Huck has what it takes to engage this army now? I mean, it's still very technical, but there's only 5 Broodlords left. There used to be a lot more. Huck has been slowly able to whittle those down, and Revival's economy isn't fantastic at all. I mean, he's only at 100 minerals.
Yeah, he's mined out everywhere. He actually does not have the economy to expand again. I mean, he has this 1 hatchery under construction, but you know what? His army is very weak to Templar, and the longer Huck waits, the more powerful his Templar will become as they continue to gather energy. So I feel like there's going to be a brief timing in about 30 seconds to a minute where it'd really be the prime time for Huck to attack, because Revival won't have been able to take advantage of this hatchery, which is still under construction. His Templar will be full of energy, and he could just tear all these Hydralisks, these Infestors apart, and then the Blink Stalker. I mean, there's only 5 Broodlords.
I'm liking Huck's composition more and more now. It's important to note those 3 roaches that burrowed earlier did end up taking out that Nexus from Huck, so he's going to be a little bit annoyed by that. But looking at his composition compared to his opponent, he's got 1 billion Blink Stalkers. He's got about 7 High Templar, 3 Immortals, and Archon against, what is this, about 10 Infestors,
10 Roaches, 5 Broodlords,
5 Broodlords,
12 Hydralisks,
and some Spine Crawlers. So, obviously it's going to come down to control. But if there's one thing people know about Huck, it's his top 3 control. So, I would almost favor Huck in a straight-on fight based on that knowledge alone.
Yeah, he's actually got a lot of Stalkers. Oh my goodness. And he's still got, you know, a small handful of Immortals as well. We do have a group of Roaches going to be running in here, picking off even more probes of Huck. Huck does not have probes to spare. He's down to 30, which is barely enough to saturate a base. These Stalkers trying to come in here and pick off some drones.
Being annoying.
Going to be able to blink away.
Yeah, you know, he's drawing his opponent over there. All those Infestors,
these Roaches.
Guess what? They're away from the Broodlords. The Broodlords are really exposed in the middle of the map right now.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
If Huck can spot that and blink underneath those and take those out, that would be huge for him. And Archon is about to see that. Archon sees it. Okay, Archon sees it. Okay, but the Infestor's coming back, so it looks like Huck not going to go for it just yet. Sees Roaches trying to counterattack, just making sure a base doesn't get up at the north side of the map. We're at the 30-minute mark. 31-minute mark, I should say. Again, guys, if you're just now tuning in, you're watching IEM New York City. Revival up 1-0 on Huck. This is the elimination match. The loser of this best of 3 will be out of the tournament. Huck must win 2 in a row, and he's looking good in this game. I'm going to say it.
Oh, Revival and burrows them, but there's an observer.
Uh-oh, Infestors are very close. Look out for the feedbacks, or look out for the fungals. Huck not going to surround. Feedbacks going down onto the Infestors. Great feedbacks there from Huck. Storms under the Hydra's going to melt those guys away. A Time Warp as well, and there's Immortals mixed in, dishing out a lot of damage. Most of Huck's armies not even participating in this fight. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I'd really like to have seen those Stalkers reinforce all those storms.
I don't understand this game.
Huck could have possibly cleaned that up. He's got so many Stalkers.
This is, you know,
Huck is 30 supply ahead, almost 40 supply ahead.
This is one of the weirdest games I've ever casted. Is that strange to say?
I think it is strange.
Is that just me? Is that one of those things where I think something's weird? I'm the only one. It's a strange game to me.
It's definitely a strange game. I don't know if it's one of the weirdest I've ever seen.
Right.
But it's definitely
I guess my
unorthodox.
definition of weird would be what I expect from players and what I'm seeing.
I guess, yeah, that's very well said.
So, we'll see what happens here. Huck, blink into the middle of the map. It's a very important game for him. Revival has lost a lot of army throughout this game. Resources lost is 43,850 to 32,750. So Huck maintaining a comfortable advantage there. He's going to be swinging across the left-hand side of the map.
It's a lot of Infestors and Hydralisk here, and you know what? Huck, he's only got, what, 2, 3, 4 Templar. So he has to be really careful. Some poor Templar control could lead to Huck's downfall, but Huck has top 3 control, so
Yeah.
he's also got a lot of
Very important to know.
charge zealots as well.
One slower zealot trying to join in on the fun, but he is an imposter. Oh, it's a nice blink there from Huck.
Zealot over here picking away at probes. He's got, I mean, drones. He's got 1 kill. Won't be able to deny the expansion. He's got 2
Huck sees
kills.
This. He's just going to sprint over here and try to deny this. And that's a great move. A lot of drones going to fall. You know, Huck kind of just denying expansion from his opponent. He identifies his opponent's composition being very slow. The Infestors and Broodlords, it's a very slow composition. But Revival going to swing around across to the right-hand side. And these units
Zealots and Templar. Storm's going down. Going to be melting the Hydralisk.
Yeah.
They're all into the orange. But the Stalker Force is still kind of non-participant.
No, I guess, you know, Huck doesn't need it, which is fine. I mean, taking down a lot of those units with those Storms. Continue to back away. I guess hoping the Broodlords get out of position, and then he swoops in with the Stalkers then, but the Stalkers just doing their own thing at the third base right now.
The Stalkers are too cool to participate.
That must be what it is.
They're like, we can blink. The Zealots can't blink, so
You're
we're
right.
not going to hang out with them.
Are these the first disobedient Stalkers we've seen in a StarCraft 2 game? They might have just said, you know what, Commanding Officer, I don't feel like participating in the battles.
I feel like Huck doesn't realize how much of an advantage he
Okay.
has.
Oh! Nice blink. 2 Stalkers left behind saying, wait for me! Blink! Oh, they stay alive. Nicely done. So, Revival. He's got a lot of Broodlords and Infestors, and that's a composition that would be terrifying, but Huck has so many units. He's so many Blink Stalkers. He's more Blink Stalkers than his opponent
Here
has
we
to
go.
fly. Yep, that's what he was looking
Broodlords
for. That's
caught
exactly
out of position.
what he was looking for.
All of them gone in the blink of an eye. There's only about 6 Infestors left and about 20 or so Roaches. And you know what? Huck, all he has got to do is micro.
Yep.
And here we go. Charge Zealot's going to be coming up
Yep.
on these Roaches,
He doesn't
Blink
even have to micro,
Stalkers.
honestly. Just going to blink forward
Blinking forward.
and accept the green goo on his face as he takes out his opponent. Huck tying up the series 1-1. That was you know, that was pretty impressive. You know, as I hold on. Just got to get this monitor out of the way there. Yeah, just that was a bizarre game. Like, just give me your thoughts, man. I just feel alone in my thoughts right now. It's
My thoughts are Revival underestimated the force field and defensive prowess
right.
of Huck. Right, so Huck, okay, here's how this is my basic runs of the game. Huck goes for this 4 Warp Gate rush attack off of 2 bases.
Yes.
Revival shuts it down immediately, puts on some counter aggression while expanding and droning.
Win. I thought he was just going to win there.
Huck able to eventually secure a third with a lot of sentries.
Yep.
And then Revival just keeps on throwing things at him. But Huck's got his force field wall, so, you know, things just bounce off the force fields.
And Revival did that like 20 times. Anyway, we got to take a quick break, guys, before into Game 2. So stay tuned. You're watching IEM New York City. We're tied 1-1. Last match of the night. Last game of the night coming up next. Going to decide who's going to be out of the tournament. It's Huck or Revival. They're tied 1-1. Game 3 coming up.